problem, Lord Michaels, with Joker is he's treated exactly the same as Bernard Getz. Except his victims were white and rich instead of black and poor. And that's the thing, Joker's like everything else when it comes to America's historic ability to erase its racism.
Seriously, Ratrick? The movie is bad because it didn't make the same point you did in response to the film? Have you caught 22 of something?
Young Ratrick, you are a clown.
Ad hominem! Ad hominem! You didn't even address my point. Arthur is textbook white rage and male fragility. He's like Bernard Getz. It's a character study about Bernard Getz, except he's the hero.
Who's this Bernard Getz? No. I won't stand for this. Arthur Fleck has been forgotten by society. The film is a character study about the consequences of letting the poorest and craziest among us run amok.
Don't say that. That's inappropriate.
What's not appropriate?
Saying crazy.
Would you like to see something inappropriate, Ratrick?
All right. What are you two rats squeaking about?
I'm trying to explain Joker to Lord Michaels, but he won't listen to me.
Ratrick has labelled me a class
We
reductionist,
agree
and I
that
won't
it's a character
stand for it.
study, but we don't agree what about. Joaquin Phoenix does a
yes,
great
he does
job.
a great job in Todd Phillips. What an artist.
There's a white
I don't
elephant
even
in the
like
room,
superhero
and that
movies
elephant's
anymore. The
name
Marvel
is
movies are good. I do
Bernard
see each
Getz,
of them, but I
the
don't like
subway
superhero
vigilante,
movies. It is
white
fun to see
supremacist
the DC
of
ones
the
and make fun of them there.
1980s.
Who Suicide Squad? What a
Yeah, the Marvel
disaster!
movies are pretty
Right?
good. The DC ones aren't good at all.
I'm dying! I refuse to let the last thing I hear on this planet be you two squabbling about this flaccid cash cow.
Halfrat, if your metaphorical beast cannot achieve tumescence, should it not be a bull?
All right, let's just trade our metaphorical animal in for a pelican. Imagine a pelican, and I'd say that much like a pelican caked in oil, floundering around a pond of corporate muck, Joker is unable to take off and fly with any confidence of itself. Before I provide you with any more of my own thoughts, why don't we cut to a summary of the movie? For this, we will cut to a wheel of cheese. Get it? Because it's spoiling the movie, and it's milk-based. It's a pun. Does it track?
No,
I would say
that doesn't track.
that does not track.
No,
Halfrat, that's a reach, even for you.
I am funny, aren't I?
Bonjour, je m'appelle Camembert. Dans le film Joker, we find Arthur Fleck, a middle-aged clown who laughs when he cries and cries when he laughs. After Arthur is attacked by some bad young boys, he is given a gun by a bad old big boy, which falls out of his pocket when Arthur dances for some good young boys, so our good old boy is fired. He is attacked again by some bigger, badder young boys, but now armed, Arthur retaliates and does the dance of catharsis in le poté. Unemployed, Arthur spends his day off living his best life. He performs stand-up comedy, stalks a lady human, and takes a trip to the countryside to fantasize about fratricide. Later, he goes to the cinema to meet his papa, and finally visits his sick mama in the hospital. Down the middle of a good lake, Arthur is visited by some old co-workers, a big old bad boy and a good old little boy. He murders the big one, toys with the little one, and does the dance of catharsis all the way across town to be on live television. Live on the Murray Franklin show, Joker reveals himself as a murderer with daddy issues and a twisted sense of humor. He kills Murray and is arrested. The citizens burn the city to the ground, with it the innocence of a good young boy that will become a man, that will become a bat, that is a man. Finally, our good old boy Arthur is completely transformed into the baddest of all boys, Le Joker. Fin.
Thank you, Cam and Bear. And might I formally welcome the rest of you to the problematic. I am half a rat, and I was trapped in this attic many years ago after smelling something spunky and delicious. Because of my situation, I cannot be moved, so I see everything that screens below in the Victory Film House. Since I have no choice but to watch these movies again and again and again, I take them very seriously. Tonight, we will talk about Joker, and treat it like the serious, mature character study that my vermin friends insist that it is. When I talk about film, I like to stick with what happened in the artwork itself, on screen. I find it a little cheesy to flank the film with context from left, right, and center. So, even though the filmmakers referred to the Joker as a character study many times, I don't defer to them. However, the opening shot of the film is a slow-paced and tense push-in towards our protagonist, who studies his face in a mirror. Yeah, safe to say the filmmakers are promising an intimate reflection on one crazy clown. Joker is a portrait of a twisted, murdering comic book psychopath. Yes, but does it respectfully or thoroughly track the emotional reality of a man out of touch and out of control? Is his mania the fault of society? His estranged father and abusive mother? His mental condition the bureaucratic system that failed to reform him when it had the chance? The film spends much of the runtime suggesting all of these things combine to awaken the monstrous and nihilistic violence within the Joker, but it doesn't take a pause to breathe with the character. A character arc is not a character study. Just because you colored by numbers doesn't mean you painted a portrait. What we get in the Joker feels less like an intimate character study and more like a theory of transformation. Citizen plus trauma plus medication minus social resources plus misdirected violence minus daddy plus power equals the Joker. Let's do a close reading of his scene as an example. The Joker gives his mommy a bath. I know this is gross for grown human males, but this isn't a thing for rats of any relation, really. If it were rats in the scene, there would be a lot more licking and nipping. Anyway, Arthur cracks jokes and pours water over his mommy. She questions why he would pursue stand-up comedy, offering the line,
"Don't you have to be funny to be a comedian?"
Ouch. Joker's old-ass naked mother, as vulnerable as a thing can be, just told her son that he's not funny. They live together, see each other every day, and apparently she doesn't understand how much this would hurt him. Or she does understand and she wants to hurt him. Double ouch. How does Joker react? How does he feel? This is a character study, isn't it? How does our character react? What's his response to his naked-ass mother saying he sucks at the thing he loves most? Don't know. The movie cuts away. It's got to keep telling the story of how Joker might be Batman's brother, and he doesn't have a daddy, so he's got to find at least one daddy before the movie's ending. Learning the particular daddy data point of who might be Arthur's father is one thing. Maybe that's why you go to the movies, but not me. Getting to witness two accomplished actors sink their chompers into a nice and meaty scene and play off one another, that's the cheese. That's what I got trapped for.
I claim, if we regard this as a character study, we find it adolescent and unrealized. It almost gets there, it really does. But about halfway through the picture, it takes an all too familiar path. The more time it spends investigating Arthur's family tree, the less time we get to learn who Arthur is. Rather than a thorough study of a character, we find a status quo superhero origin story fundamentally concerned with the question, who is my daddy?
My daddy was a dock rat. He would spend his nights jumping from ship to ship, goofing off and collecting food.
What are you doing?
One night, when I was much
come
younger,
back to us,
went out for
please.
some salted
You're
meat
drifting
bits on a
off.
tall ship, and my brother Matthias waited. But Matthias had flea bites.
Why don't you just take a nap and I'll wrap up the episode, okay?
No, Ratrick. That's fine. I'll just go ahead and finish.
Oh, hi, friends. Ratrick here. And welcome to the Problematic. Now, Half Rat likes to get real technical about the film stuff, but we're not all trapped inside a movie theater. Some of us like to go out into the world, you know? So let's put the brakes on the character study and study the characters that made this movie. Todd Phillips, adult human male director of the Joker, said the following. Go try to be funny nowadays with this woke culture. There were articles written about why comedies don't work anymore. I'll tell you why. Because all the fucking funny guys are like, fuck this shit, because I don't want to offend you. It's hard to argue with 30 million people on Twitter. You just can't do it right. So you go, I'm out. Oh no, I dropped my little rat script. What else did he say? He said something like, I love Martin Scorsese's movies. He's like my film daddy. I love Marty. And we'll think of his movies when you watch my movies. Something like that. But there's some creative clarity. The makers of this film are nostalgic for a different era of filmmaking. They want to make American cinema great again, as it were. Phillips imagines a grittier, more grounded, Scorsese-looking world for the Joker to play in, himself wanting to return to an era where comedy isn't restrained by these hypersensitive, woke SJW audiences. This is, in fact, a view shared by the Joker on the set of the Murray Franklin program.
Comedy is subjective, Murray. Isn't that what they say? All of you, the system that knows so much, you decide what's right or wrong the same way that you decide what's funny or not.
The director's own words are echoed by the title character in the climax of the film. You know, as much as critics applauded this film for being a critique of alienated white male rage, gun violence, or class consciousness, I don't think Todd Phillips really gave a shit about any of that. It's pretty clear what he cared about. But what about Joaquin? What drove him to this project? Let's take another look at the same scene.
Get what you fucking deserve!
Seems like the Joker really doesn't like Murray Franklin of the Late Night with Murray Franklin show, huh? Does Joaquin Phoenix have any other memorable talk show experiences we could relate this to?
Joaquin Phoenix.
In 2010, Joaquin Phoenix collaborated with Casey Affleck in a fake documentary called I'm Still Here. In this film, Joaquin parodied himself in an attempt to point out the conflicting relationship between celebrity persona and the authentic self. The film, much like the Joker, sets its protagonist against a late-night talk show host. When Joaquin visits Letterman, the movie is trying to highlight the inherent awkwardness of these sorts of performances.
You've got a nice beard going, and
Oh, yeah, thank you.
How is that, the beard?
In what way?
Well, is it comfortable? Is it itchy? Is it? Are you pleased with it?
I'm okay with it, but now you're making me feel weird about it.
I'm sorry, I'm making you feel weird about it?
Further, the Joaquin Phoenix on David Letterman is just as much a theatrical performance as a Joker or any of his other characters on film. These points, however, were lost on audiences at the time, and the movie has been all but forgotten. Now, Joaquin got to be a little more direct with Joker. I don't think Joaquin wants to shoot Letterman in the face or any talk show host, but I do think Joaquin is reflecting about his past. About 4 or 5 months before Joker started principal photography, Joaquin Phoenix was asked a few questions by Guardian journalist Zan Brooks regarding the allegations of Casey Affleck's sexual abuse and misconduct, but Joaquin was unable to answer because of legal reasons. However, when asked more broadly about systemic sexual abuse in the United States film industry, Joaquin was free to ramble. At its core, what we're talking about is the abuse of power, and sex is a weapon. And I have seen abuses of power all over. There are many things that I wish I had been aware of at the time, or wish that I'd had the strength and conviction to stand up in that moment and say, "Hey, stop!" I feel I do that at times, but yeah, there are probably other times when I probably don't. Perhaps, by drawing a line between Joker and I'm Still Here, Joaquin is reevaluating his former artistic concerns. A character who uses a large platform for their own vain ideological reasons is not a tragic hero to be celebrated, but more of a pathetic villain to be frickin' worried about. He is not asking us to forgive the villain inside each of us, he wants us to reckon with them. Further, regarding his personal demons, it seems like he not only recognizes his own wrongdoing, but he's connected that to a system that on a fundamental level supports men in power and abuses women. After all, he has not spoken to former collaborator Casey Affleck in years. For the record, Affleck was sued by several women who worked on the set of I'm Still Here, and they settled out of court. Also, for the record, Affleck can suck my little rat penis, though he probably didn't think he needed permission.
Oh, Ratrick, you don't know the whole story. My man Casey was just misunderstood. It was a cast party. Who hasn't got any little rowdy...
So, Ratrick, are you saying that as much as it is lauded as a character study, Joker is more like a multi-million-dollar midget joke and Joaquin Phoenix talk show revenge fantasy? I love it. I'll bite on that apple.
No, Hafferack, that's not what I was saying at all. That's not the point.
You are both mad. The Late Night with Mary show from Joker is clearly in reference to the Jerry Lewis copycat program from Martin Scorsese's King of Comedy, where De Niro himself plays a troubled comedian trying to gain the love and recognition of the talk show host Jerry Langford. You know what? It is time for me to do a thing.
What?
I should get to do a monologue if Ratrick did.
No,
Yes.
I'm not done. The whole point was I was going to connect to Bernard Getz, the vigilante subway murder of the 1980s.
Well, as fun as that sounds, Ratrick, I just needed a second to refuel, and I'm ready to get back in the driver's seat now.
In the 1980s, Bernard Getz was approached by 4 young men in the New York City subways.
No, it's not fair. I have ideas. I want a turn. It's my theatre. This is my show. I want to talk about things too, Haverat.
Okay, whatever you say, Lord Michaels. It's only fair we should let him have a turn.
Okay, sure, fine. No worries. I can be done. My point probably doesn't even matter anyway. No one cares about my point.
Good day, my dudes. I am Lord Michaels, the field mouse. Unlike Haverat and Ratrick, I quite liked the film. Also, unlike the both of them, I have what the humans call been educated. For many years, I lived in the Oddfellows Building, Department of History and Literature. I would like to speak to Joker's many intertextual references. Perhaps this will help Haverat and Ratrick understand this great work of art. Let's start with the obvious. The film is based on the Detective Comics universe of Bat Peoples. The film in particular takes strong influence from Alan Moore's The Killing Joke. There are some narrative similarities between both texts. They feature young wannabe comedian versions of Arthur. Both texts explore themes of morality, sanity, identity, and fragility. Much like the film, the comic attempts to deconstruct the present state of the genre, bringing a sense of real-world stakes to the fantasy. There are some important differences as well. Killing Joke is an explicit comparison of Batman and the Joker as comic book characters. It asks, can a hero be one bad day away from becoming a villain? And since our film, Joker, is absent the Batman, as it were, this question is then applied to the real world. We must ask if society itself has gone mad, especially in the absence of a strong, powerful male role model.
Lord Michaels, Alan Moore said it himself. Comic books are meaningless. He said, The Killing Joke is a story about Batman and the Joker. It isn't about anything that you're ever going to encounter in real life because Batman and the Joker are not like any human beings that have ever lived. So there's no important human information being imparted. It was just a couple of licensed DC characters that didn't relate to the real world in any way.
You both spend all your time whining. But, Haverat, if you were able to just go outside, you would see that shit is quite crazy out there. Now, if I may, I will assign some readings that are key to understanding Joker. They are as follows. The King of Comedy, 1982, Martin Scorsese. Modern Times, 1936, Charles Chaplin. And of course, Zorro the Gay Blade, 1981.
Is Zorro the Gay Blade the one where Zorro breaks his leg and his gay twin takes over and wears fabulously colored versions of the Zorro costume?
Yes, that is the Golden Globe comedy-winning classic to which I refer. Todd Phillips references the film when Bruce leaves the theater with his parents before they are murdered.
So, in this Joker's universe, Batman, right before his parents are murdered, sees Zorro the Gay Blade. Does that mean that this Batman would wear fabulous bat suits as well? Do we get Batman the Gay Knight?
Oh, I like that.
No, Batman isn't gay. He's in love with the human Catwoman and many other beautiful females.
Joel Schumacher's Batman, I guess, is kind of what I'm talking about.
Gay Batman makes a lot of sense to me.
Robin would have to be older if Batman was gay.
Not necessarily. Why would you say that?
I don't know, the tights, the billionaires, the basements.
Haverat, just assuming that because Batman is gay he shouldn't be around kids is super problematic.
You got me there, Ratrick. You got me there.
Excuse me, silence please. I haven't completed my segment.
You didn't complete it, but you interrupted me anyway, and I think I should point out that none of us have even mentioned any of the women in this movie.
I did. I talked about his mommy. Mommies are women, right?
Have I
I feel safe saying that.
Connection between Joker and modern times. A classic film, proletariat propaganda. You see, just like Chaplin in modern times, Arthur Fleck becomes the unwitting face of a revolution.
All right, I've had it with you two. I thought we were just gonna talk about this movie as a character study, but no, you two had to go meta. And you wouldn't like me when I'm meta.
Ah, yes. Incredible Hulk with Edward
Shut
Norton.
the fuck up. Okay. I don't like to admit it, but I liked the movie. The movie is good.
I thought you didn't like it.
What's that? Huh? I thought so. All right. The movie is good, despite itself. Tapping into something bigger, more collective, more unconscious. The script superficially addresses class struggle and a few other contemporaneous themes, but like a frightened child describing a dream, Joker knows more than it has the words to say. Humans are desperate, and rightfully so. Despite their greatness in size and numbers, they are a weak species. And the reason why is as painfully clear to us as it is impossible to see for them. And by us, I mean super rats.
Authorities are saying the city is under siege by scores of rats. And not just any rats, but super rats who are hard to kill. Super rats, super rats, super rats, super rats.
Despite it not being a part of the narrative, nature insists its way into Joker. The script frequently calls the citizens of Gotham animals. An infestation of literal super rats plagues the city. This is a universe where the most important character dresses up like a bat, for goodness sake. Humans are both desperately thirsty to reignite a deep and spiritual connection with nature, but have somehow come to understand this urge as uncivilized or sinful. Let's break down the entire movie to one of its most iconic images. We could see the stairs as class struggle, capitalism, whatever. But when we take the image literally, we see someone being boxed in. While not a complete cage, the concrete and lifeless frame is closing in on the small and helpless human. Many humans distilled from Joker that they live in a society, yes, but how many of them followed through with that thought? They live in a society, but they yearn for nature, and to nature they shall return, bitches!
Don't say bitches.
Yes, Halfrat, dear, even I know you're not supposed to say bitches.
That's your takeaway? That's your takeaway from what I just said, that you're not supposed to say bitches?
Yes, I heard the sexism, Halfrat, but I don't know if you did. Is the point.
Here's another point for you. Rent is due in 3 days. Also, you should watch King of Comedy. It is really good, all bits aside.
You know, I
it's
really
like,
don't
what
feel
if
like
Joker
watching King of
was
Comedy.
really
Every
about
movie
one
we
thing
talked about
instead
today
of
was
being
made by a
kind
white
of about
man
a lot
human.
of things.
Are we ever
It's
gonna
about
shake that up a
fame,
little bit?
mob
I wanna be a part of
mentality,
this channel
the
that only
morality
believes in
of
establishments
celebrity,
who can't
parasocial relationships, parasocial relationships. Speaking of which, has Halfrat told you about Patreon?